In this tutorial, I'm going to use what you previously learned in terms of outputting strings and integers, taking inputs from users, storing them as variables, etc., etc. And we're going to learn how to use selection, which is where we ask if and else questions. So just to run this by you, I've made a little bit of code, and it might be worth you doing this quickly. To pause the video. I've made a variable called var underscore name1. I've put an equal sign and I've input. So we're getting the user's name, and then I've said whatever the name is. I'm going to ask you a question and I'd like an honest answer. So if I run that now, hello, what's your name? If I write Bob, I'm going to ask you a question. I'd like an honest answer. Okay. I'm going to put print. I'm going to put some speech marks to leave an empty line, and then I'm going to create something called a selection sequence, and we're going to ask a question. We're going to test it against a set criteria, and then we're going to give a response based on whether their response matches that criteria. So that might sound a bit confusing, but you'll see what I mean when you actually see it done. Okay, so we're going to write var underscore fav color. And we're going to spell this the nice British way with an our at the end. Okay, equals input. What is your favorite color? Pretty straightforward, isn't it? And now here's where the fun begins. This is how we can start teaching computers to make decisions. If we type if var underscore fav color, and we do a double equals because we're doing a test instead of assignment. When we assign a value to a variable, we use a single equals, so it's equal to whatever the user's input is. When we actually test it, we use a double equals. If var fav color equals double equals, let's use a string. Let's use red. We put a colon at the end because that test has been carried out. When we press enter after a colon, we get a line indented, and that's supposed to happen. So after that colon, we'll have a response if they have chosen the color red. And I'm going to write print wow, right, var underscore name1, you have such good taste. I also love red. Okay, and I'm going to put underneath this now else. You don't have to spread them out, but I like to. It's easier to find things. In fact, I'm going to just move this apart a little bit, so each kind of separate part of the program is easy to identify. Else, just press enter. Print such a shame. Alright, var underscore name1, and then we put I thought you had taste. That's a rubbish colour, because it's an insulting computer program. So we have if and we have else. Now they have to be indented. If it's not indented, you've missed off the colon. So if it is like that, and then you go, oh, I've got to put a colon on there, it's not going to automatically indent the thing. You've got two options. You can either backspace from the front of the word print, press enter again, and it'll indent for you, or you can press the tab key on your keyboard, which has got two weird sort of arrows, one pointing right, one pointing left, with a line at the end of each arrow. But this is what happens when you tab. Just does that. Okay, it's important you do that with Python, otherwise it won't know that this is the response to that test. Okay, and as I said to you, you need a double equal sign. So let's run that. Hello, what's your name? Bob, as per usual. What's your favourite colour? Green. Such a shame, Bob. I thought you had taste. That's a rubbish colour. Okay, let's run it again this time. Kevin likes red. Wow, Kevin, you have such good taste. I also love red. So that's worked. Depending on what you type in, if it's red, you get a positive response. Now, run one more time and I'll show you. Kevin's quite particular about using capitals, so he writes red with a capital R. Such a shame, Kevin. I thought you had taste. That's a rubbish colour. But he's just said the colour red. The difference is This is case sensitive. That means that you need capitals where capitals are going to be. You need lowercase where lowercase is going to be. That's non-capital letters. So here's a workaround for you. After var underscore fav color equals double equals red, I'm going to type or var underscore fav color double equals, and this time red with a capital R. Okay. We can even do or var fav color, and it'll just kind of move that line down. If you actually stretch this thing across there, it'll kind of go back onto the same line it should be on. Don't worry about that. Equals. Let's just put RED all in capitals, just in case that kind of person. Just want to make sure it's all there, right? So now I could type in any of those three. It should work. Bob. Yeah. Or I can type in RED with capital R. Okay. If I wrote red like that, obviously that's not on my list. But here we go. So var underscore fav color double equals red or, and then or. Now you need to actually say the variable double equals each time. So you can do one of three tests being passed. That's the response you get. Otherwise, that's the response you get. I'd like you to have a play around with that and try to do some different tests and some different combinations of things. And remember, the reason I'm doing this is to anticipate or to second guess what a user might type in by accident. So if you know people are going to misspell a certain word, put a misspelled version of it in if you are doing a little quiz or a little test. But that's a good place to start with asking questions to people and giving them different responses. Okay, and that's the theory, is what's behind computer games, where, you know, if you press X at a particular time it shoots a baddie, etc, etc. It's the same kind of principle used in the coding of gaming or in online quizzes and all sorts of things. It's kind of the backbone of computer science, and we call this technique selection, if and else, but selection is the proper computer science word, or the proper computer science term we use to describe the process.